Hey guys, thanks for clicking on to this channel for today's episode of pros and cons of being a HGV driver. Well, just before we get there, here's just a little look at what's been going on this week so far. Morning guys, time is what time are we on? Let me do this first. It's 4:30 AM Monday morning. 491520. Right, it's 4:30 Monday morning. We are heading on over to where are we heading to today? Yeah, we're heading to the O2, not the O2, we're heading to the London XL today. Yeah, got a delivery to do there that we collected on Friday, so new week, new day and all that. Nice and early. I wouldn't say bright, but it's nice and early. Literally just gonna go and do all my vehicle checks now. I'm gonna put my lights on and that and have a walk round. Hopefully no issues. Check the load, check it's all strapped in well. Well, I know it is because I've done it, but the vehicle has been moved since Friday. So because it's been moved, I'm gonna double check it just in case. Other than that, we will be hitting the road in about 10 minutes, so 20 to 5. Head to the services, fuel up, both of us, coffee for me, diesel for the lorry, and hopefully, without any issues, get into the O2, not the O2, Lee, get into the XL, with no issues, i.e. no traffic, no traffic. Don't want a lot of traffic today. The way we're heading is going to be down the M11, around the M25, down the M11, straight in, down the 40. Well, not. I'm not going to go down the 406. I'm going to go straight over the 406, following to the XL that way. That is the way we have to go now, anyway. So I'm comfortable with that. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, welcome to a new week. It's Monday and it's 4:30. Well, 4:32 now. Let's get going. And we'll probably see you down near the XL. Over and out for now, guys. Good morning, people. How are we? So we are on it's Thursday morning. You could say it's Monday for me. This is the first of my 6 on ish, and today we are heading into the XL Arena in London, picking up some stuff to go back to where we collected it from at the beginning of the week on Monday. So the reason why I'm starting on Thursday today, I've just had a 45, so I had Tuesday and Wednesday off. I'm working the weekend. I've got some stuff to do up north, so yeah, today is my first day, which is good. It's not all bad, to be fair. I don't mind, to be fair. It's something I just don't mind, you know. Don't care what day of the week it is. I just, you know, as long as we do our job to the best of our ability, we get paid for what we get paid, the correct structure for what we do. You can't moan, you know. The job itself, it's a good job. Very laid back from the management service up to us, which is good for us because it gives us, we're not mollycoddled, I suppose, in that sense. It's just a case of there's your job, get on with it, which we all do. And yeah, I love how it works. No office to report to as such, although we've got a yard that we go into which is officed and manned, so to speak, but we don't have an office as such that we have to report to. We just, you know, it's just where the lorries are kept, I suppose, if you put it like that. But it works very well, and everybody mucks in. I love it, from the transport manager up to the main man. You know, they all muck in, and I think it's really good. They just step in at a very, very short notice to do work. Anyway, I've banged on about them all the time I do a video. I don't want to keep praising them. They'll get a bigger ego. So what's everybody been up to? I've been trying to do something a little bit different recently, and I'm hoping that it certainly is paying dividends, but I hope you guys have noticed, or I hope you guys are noticing. I'm now starting to do shorts on YouTube. I'm adding a lot more content on YouTube, a lot more on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok and Twitter. I don't really do Twitter as much as I should do. I've just never really got on with Twitter. It's nothing to do with what's been going on or anything with whoever he's called, Musk, wherever he's, I can't remember his freaking name. Anyway, it's nothing to do with that. It's just I get more, I don't know, I just got this thing with Twitter where I just don't think Twitter's all that. It's never really done me any benefit, so I can track the traffic on my channel for where stuff comes from, and very, very little comes from Twitter. Most of it, to be fair, comes from TikTok and Instagram. The main drive is the YouTube channel itself, which isn't doing too bad, and it's taken a very long, well, it's taken me 1.5 years I've been doing this now, and I've just got 532 or 31 subscribers. I mean, the last video I've done, and since I've been doing my shorts, one isn't going to lie, I've done well with the subscribers in my, well, what I call well. My average subscriber per month is probably 3 or 4. On other occasions, on the very odd other occasion, it might go to 8 or 9. But 3 weeks in and I've got 19 extra subscribers. Now, is it me, or is it just coincidental that all this has happened as this month I've been putting out a lot of shorts on YouTube? So I've done the usual. I've googled how to get more views on Google and YouTube and Instagram, all that rubbish. I've googled it all, and I've watched a few videos that I found fairly useful, if that's the right way to say it, reasonably useful. You know, but they're all saying the same thing in many, but just saying it in different ways. But the end product is basically you, what you're doing, how you're representing your channel, how or what you are doing to get your views. And I wasn't raising my game enough, and now I feel I've started to raise my game a little bit more. I feel fairly happy. I feel fairly good and content with what I'm doing. Now I'm seeing some form of progress, The problem I've got now is my videos on YouTube are up and down like a yo-yo. So what I mean by that is I put one video out there and I named it at the very beginning disaster, because it was a disaster in terms of my daily works. If you've not seen it, head over there now on YouTube and you'll know what I'm talking about. But when I first released it, I got like 20 views and I was really upset. So that's what prompted me to go and read how to sort of do YouTube shorts and how to get more views. So after I'd done what I'd done, I made some changes and I reposted the video with the changes that I'd seen online. Believe it or not, believe it or not, I went from 22 views on one video to releasing the exact same video 4 or 5 hours later, and I got 870 views. So I carried the process through to the following day with another video. I released it, it got 260. I released it at a different time in the afternoon, it got 1,300 views. So what I found was timing is crucial. I used to wake up and think, right, I've got to do a YouTube short, I'll make something in the yard real quick, boom, whack it out there. Don't need to do that. Do not need to do that. Just think of your audience, think of the time. I'm seeing it all. I'm seeing my click-through rate a lot higher, which is absolutely fantastic for me. I just want my channel to grow. Listen, I want to get over 1,000. If I know 1,000 people are watching me, oh my god. So if I can make good videos and you guys are watching, hopefully you're still watching now. I mean, I'm banging on a little bit here, but I feel it was necessary for me to talk about it. Literally just tell you guys what I've been doing, what I've been going through, and how I've been trying to get the channel better for you guys at home that are watching. I'm doing all this for you guys to enjoy, and of course I love making the content anyway. So we are, as I say, heading over to London XL this morning for a pickup, and we are just going to continue to crack on and drive there, and I will pretty much see you once we're loaded, or maybe while we're loading. Not so easy to load in to film in the XL when we're loading, because they don't like it. Well, we are now at the part where most of you have probably clicked on for this reason, which is to hear my personal pros and cons of becoming a HGV lorry driver. So number one for me as a pro, which is what I'm going to start with, is pretty much an obvious one. You can pretty much be your own boss. So the pro of that is, you know, other than being given you know, your work, so to speak, the odd phone call or whatever, you're pretty much in charge of yourself, which is quite a unique thing to have when you're being paid. For you to be paid and be given work and you just go and do it, you know, your own boss, you sort of make your own decisions whilst you're out. although some of the decisions could be wrong, you're still making your own decisions. You're enjoying the life out on the road as we know it. So I think number one, the first pro for me is certainly you are kind of your own boss. So my next pro is once you are a HGV lorry driver, you can go and progress yourself through to bigger and better things, such as ADR. Go and get your ADR, go and doing the course. I haven't done it personally, but a few friends of mine that have done it that have said that it can be quite challenging, but you know, the rewards are there once you've passed. So things like your ADR, Moffats, get Moffat training. For those who don't know what Moffat is, it's pretty much a forklift on the back of a lorry. You do need additional training for that. That can also, them sort of jobs with the they can also sort of help you better yourself on a financial basis as well, but we'll touch upon that later. Also, you've got some heavy plant, you know, heavy machinery, that sort of lorry driving. So if you're looking at progressing once you've passed, or you're looking at progression after you've been driving for so many years, then I think that's probably the way to go. That's another good thing for me, for another pro for being a HGV driver, is progression. So as I say, ADR, Moffat, heavy plant, that sort of stuff. You know, and there's also a big variety of work if you choose to do. You know, anything. Could be delivering concrete into building sites, you could be delivering to event industries, you could be delivering you know, tarmac, or just anything in skips, 7.5 ton to flatbeds. So in that department, really the world is your oyster. So my next pro for me personally is learning. I like learning. So another pro for me is your working time directive and your CPC with your learning. So as we all know, working time directive, the law changes from time to time within certain parameters of your job, so keeping on top of that is quite good for me personally. CPC, all right, yeah, I mean, a lot of people I hear, we all get bored. We do get bored, but let's be realistic and be honest. Keeps you on your toes, it keeps you learning more, and it keeps you up to date with everything. So for me personally, you know, keeping up to date with your working time directives, and of course your CPC, for me, it's a pro. It really is. You just keep learning and learning and learning. It keeps you on top of your game. So yeah. My next one is, it has to be, I'm sure you've all been waiting for it, the open road. So I mean, remarkable what you do as a lorry driver. As I say, whether you're a 7.5 ton, you're a van driver, you're a HGV class 2 driver, or you're a HGV class 1, within this industry, the places we go is quite remarkable. The sights we see, you know, places we go backstage, all that sort of stuff. So the work that we do, for me, we do a lot of event work, and I love this industry. I think this industry is probably one of the best within the haulage industry. That's my personal opinion. You know, the places I've been, unbelievable. So France, Italy, Belgium, Denmark, Austria, Croatia, all them sorts of places. We do a lot of European work, and of course here in the UK there are so many lovely places to visit, places that you wouldn't randomly think let's just go there, but because you go there in your lorries, you're seeing different things. It really is absolutely fantastic to see. It really is. As I say, the sights, even the weather, some of the weather that we drive through and the conditions and everything, it's something you see on movies, and we live it on what could be said a daily basis, depending what time of the year we're in. So for me, the open road is so good. You know, you just, it sort of comes hand in hand with being your own boss. From what I said before on the pros, it sort of comes hand in hand with that. So you're your own boss, you've got the open road, the fresh air, or the rain, whatever it is. It certainly beats sitting behind a desk and staring into a screen for 8 hours a day. So my last pro for me is money. Probably the one you have all been waiting for is money. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I earn in my role, but you'll certainly get a better understanding and a ballpark figure of what it is we do financially. So if you're a class 2 driver and you're new and you're starting out, me personally, I think your wages would probably need to be within the 28 to 32,000 a year. I don't think anything less is valid. I really don't. I don't think it's worthwhile. I think, you know, it just needs to be a level playing field for the work that you do. For the work I do with the class 1s, personally, you're probably looking at around sort of 35 to 50 as a minimum requirement for financial earnings. You know, we can be above and beyond that depending on the work and how busy we are and what we do. The same as anything, you know, you get your overtime, you might get bonuses, all that sort of stuff, and then it will all add up. It will all add up. But personally, I think the finances I've just said is probably in a level playing field. I mean, you can go somewhere who might pay a little bit more than what you're currently getting, but is the job better? Is it worth it? Not too sure. So, you know, we'll touch upon that when I go on to the cons in a little while. But, you know, I think financially, overall, I think being a HGV driver, whether it be a class 2 or a class 1, I can't comment on class 3 or van drivers because I've been so long since I've been involved. I wouldn't know what the wages were for that. But for me, I think financially it's worth it. But you might reconsider once you hear my cons, which is where we're going to next, guys. That is it for my pros. Tell me what you think for the pros. Leave your comments below, thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. You know, as I say, I'm hoping this is the moment you were waiting for, and this was why you clicked onto my channel. Go and check out the rest of my content. Please, please, please go and check it out. Right, we are heading off over to the cons now. I hope I don't put anybody off. Right, cons. So my first con is honestly probably an obvious one. Long hours. Yes, as a HGV driver, you can do a lot of hours, which results in probably not seeing family and friends very much. You know, you'll get very tired. You might get bored, you might get upset, you might get lonely. But long hours. So if you're a tramper, for example, and you're a tramper within the UK, I would say Monday to Friday, you're pretty much 4 nights a week sleeping in your bed. Fifth night in your lorry, that is. Fifth night, you're going to be in your bed when you get home from a long, grueling Friday, or it could follow over into a Saturday. It did many a time when I was tramping. If you're on the European side, it's maybe a little bit different, not as grueling, but you are away from home. If you're doing, you know, Monday to Friday, sort of multi-drop, then I feel for you. I really do feel for you. Something I said I would never go back to doing, I never would do. I think multi-drop is the hardest thing to do. I think people ask too much of people at times, and before you know it, you're chasing the clock, and you don't want to be chasing the clock. If you're chasing the clock, guys, and you are watching this, you're in the wrong game. You know, it leads to one thing, it leads to danger. So please, please, please don't do that. So as I say, your first con for me is long hours. It can be grueling. So my second con, I touched on it before, it's lone working, being alone. All them days, all them weeks, all them hours, all them months, minutes, you're alone. You need to occupy yourself. All right, yeah, you need to be concentrating on what's in front of you, what you're doing. But anyone watching this that's a lorry driver will know it's lonely. It's a lonely world out there. It's not the greatest in that respect. That's where you rely on your loved ones to call you, to give you inspiration of a text message or a phone call here and there, or you know, a FaceTime of an evening with your family. Anything, you just need to be lifted up, because lone working can be very difficult. It can be very taxing on the mind. It really can. I had a scenario where I worked for a company and you never saw them. There was no office, so to speak. Everything was done via text, and I had the conversation and I just said, look, I feel like I'm on my own out here. I feel like it's a big wide world and I'm just on my own. It's hard, it's not nice, it can be quite grueling and very, very miserable. So take that into consideration when you do this. It can be very, very, very boring and lonely. So another con for me personally is feeling sick when you're under the weather, when you feel like you cannot get out of bed. The worst thing you want to be doing is concentrating for hours on end, driving and staring right in front of you. Unfortunately, that is required. I'll tell you an instance with myself. I was driving on the continent, and I was driving to a lovely, lovely part of Portugal, and a day into my trip I discovered I had COVID. This was a long time ago. So I had COVID. I was driving, it was hard, I was so unwell. I did not want to be in that vehicle. The last place I wanted to be was in the vehicle. The only place I wanted to be was in bed. However, there's a slight pro to this. Not much, but a slight pro, depending on how you look at it. If you are unwell and your job, if you work in a factory for example, or it's manual or manual labour or whatever it is, sometimes you don't feel like doing your job and you'd phone in sick, and that's rightly so if you feel unwell. This job, end of the day, you sat down driving. All right, you might do a lot of handballing and that during the day. If you do, then maybe I would consider not working for that day. But if you're driving long distances, sitting behind the wheel feeling unwell isn't too bad. But honestly though, tag that along with working alone. You know, you're having a bad day because you're doing long hours, you feel unwell, you feel sick. It's the worst place you want to be. It's right here behind the steering wheel. You don't want to be here. So for me, feeling sick, feeling unwell is a con, and it's not good. So another one on my list, we've kind of touched on it, being away from home, your family, your friends, your loved ones for a long period of time. So again, we'll go back to it. If you're a tramper, you're away from your family a lot, you miss them, you know, you rely on them keeping you strong throughout the week, giving you messages and whatever. If you work on the continent, which we do, you know, I've just been away for a long period of time, for 6 weeks in the UK. It was hard, very hard, but we're doing it for our loved ones. But again, it's difficult. So working away long hours, it's very grueling, it's very taxing, and it is difficult. This might not be the job for you. So yeah, just bear that one in mind as well. Right, my next con for me personally, bad services on the motorways and bad unhygienic truck stops. That's where we're going with this one. So it's only recently you've been able to wash your clothes. Now if you're working a long period of time away from home in your lorry, you need to do your washing, you need to keep clean. It's hygiene, that's what we do, yeah? The problem being, I do not think the motorway services and some particular truck stops are catered for us in that section. So for example, how can service stations allow up to 50 to 100 trucks parked there and only have the one shower? You know, and it's not the greatest shower at that. You've got to hold your hand on a button 90% of the time. So I think the services there are poor. I think the choice of food services, you know, the deals, all that sort of, I don't think really it's catered for lorry drivers, and I think really it could be catered for it a little bit more. So if you're hearing all these stories about how great it is being a lorry driver and the facilities and the services are great, don't believe everything. Some of them are absolutely fantastic. Go and check out my channel where I've done a few shorts on my YouTube channel of a particular truck stop in Ellesmere Port. Fantastic. Anyway, let's not get away from what we're doing. So truck stops, there are many truck stops in the UK, and I would say 45% are good. The others, for me, not so good. You know, we're not all I am but not all lorry drivers are fat, grease-eating monkeys. They're not. Some are quite skinny, look after themselves. They don't want to go somewhere where you just get a dump of wallop of food on your plate that's greasy as hell, you know, all that sort of stuff. I think it's catered for the wrong people, these truck stops these days. Your portions are enormous. You get your money's worth, don't get me wrong, but your portions are enormous. It's unhealthy. Not that I'm the healthiest guy, as you can tell, but it's just not healthy. It's going in the wrong direction. Also, truck stops, their showers are absolutely piss poor. I'm not going to name any, but there's one or two that I've now stopped going to. I've been driving lorries for 23 years, and I went to a truck stop 2 months ago. Them toilets and showers are exactly the same as when I first started 23 years ago. Still dirty, not been cleaned very well, old showers. It's so appalling, but they expect you to pay £30 a night to park. I think it's wrong, and I think it needs to be looked at. So anyone from the government that's watching this, or anybody to do with HGVs in that sense, do something about it. Right, my last con for this. I hope you've enjoyed them all so far. Please leave your comments below. Anything you feel you can add to what I've already said, I'm open to hearing, and opening to bring it out to another discussion in another video. My final one I'm signing off with today is bad companies and bad pay. I'm sure you've been waiting for the pay on the bad side. Well, bad companies can be just as bad and influence you in your choices that you make as you go down your path of being a lorry driver. So, for example, you know, you could work for a very good company, really good company, but the pay is quite poor. And, you know, your mate Billy is working at a really bad company, but earning a lot more money than you, but he has to put up with so much crap. Where's the balance? You know, where do you go? So you need to find yourself with, or don't find yourself working for a bad company with bad pay. You will be taken advantage of. You will not be respected. I've been there, I've done it. Just for the sake of working, I worked for a bad company. The pay was absolutely ridiculous. It was minimum wage when I was back 16 years ago. It was minimum wage. It was appalling, absolutely appalling. I chose to stay there because it was a convenience for me to travel. I didn't want to sort of spend more money on fuel traveling further afield if the money weren't going to be as good. But my eyes weren't open to what the rest of the world was offering financially. I managed to get my break and work for a company that had respect for you and paid you reasonably well. So if you are one of them people that's having every day is a bad day, every day is a nightmare, and you're being paid horrendous wages for it, take my advice, get out and get a new job. That concludes, guys, my personal pros and cons of being a HGV driver. As I said, if you are new to the channel, please check out my channel, subscribe to the channel, leave comments, leave thumbs up. I will be forever grateful. So I think that's the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. For now, guys, from Lee's Trucking, it's over and out.